Hey there, it's Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson, and the 14-day challenge is back. You have requested this for years. Now, we didn't just bring back the old one, we created an all-new, completely redone 14-day challenge from scratch. Every last video, completely new, and it is out now. So exciting. Okay, why is this important? Why should you care? What's the history behind this? So the original 14-day challenge was released in 2017 in March in conjunction with the release of the first book, Bright Line Eating. And we noticed that people loved it and we kept it around. And it was just a 2-week introduction to Bright Line Eating, a 14-day, can you do Bright Line Eating for 14 days challenge. That's what it was. And it took people from not knowing anything about Bright Line Eating to up and started, and 14 days in to their journey for a very low price point and minimal investment, like, not a big psychological investment, not a big financial investment, like no big investment really. It's just, you could try anything for 14 days, really. People do ridiculous stuff for 14 days and just try it out, right? Okay. So that was the idea. It was really, really effective. And what happened was a significant number of people signed up for the 14-day challenge, and actually, when we asked them, decided to do the boot camp instead of the 14-day challenge. Once they'd said yes to the journey at all, they realized, you know what, I might as well go all in. So that was interesting. And a lot of people who didn't do that said yes to the boot camp at the end of the 14 days when they'd gotten some experience that, oh, this is working for me. This feels different. And they signed up for the boot camp at the end of the 14 days. So yeah, so why did we take it away? Well, what happened was in 2021, we changed the Bright Line Eating structure entirely and went completely into a membership model, which was also at a very low price point. And in that structure, we didn't need the 14-day challenge because people could get going for a membership, like a monthly membership for $20 and try Bright Line Eating out that way. So in that structure, the 14-day challenge was kind of not needed. People could just start the boot camp right away. So anyway, that ended up not working. It turns out that having an ongoing commitment like that in a membership is not the right way to get started with Bright Line Eating. Having a very defined short-term trial is psychologically by far the best way to go. And we learned that after a couple years, we restructured things again. So we're back to doing the 14-day challenge. And what's really important about this, why you should care, is that every day that you're struggling with your food and your weight and not taking action on it takes a toll. There's a cost associated with lingering day after day, this sort of creeping non-choice where you know what you're doing isn't working, but doing something about it feels too hard and too scary, right? But those days drip by and they turn into months and then they turn into years. And we've got a lot of people around here, you might be one of them, who've been intending to do something with this Bright Line Eating thing for years and years and years and not taken action. And just like in chemistry class, where you learn that there's an activation energy needed, sort of a threshold of oomph that it takes to get over the barrier to getting started at all, there's value in lowering the resistance to getting started, making it as small as possible, making it the minimum viable on-ramp, really, so that someone can say to themselves, look, the financial investment is so minimal, I could do that. 2 weeks is a short amount of time. What's the harm? Okay, I'll give it a try for 2 weeks. It lowers that activation energy threshold all the way down so that someone can get over the hurdle of getting started. And then inertia kicks in, right? Inertia keeps you stuck when you're not moving. It keeps you still. But once you're moving, it keeps you going. And it becomes momentum. And that's exciting because once you start doing the 14-day challenge and you realize, oh, this is actually working for me and I'm on a roll here, suddenly continuing on with it feels like the right thing to do. So the reason I love this so much is that I've had an experience that I don't think I've shared with you. When I do a boot camp kickoff call, so this is when we do a launch of the boot camp and we're going to take a cohort of people through the boot camp, I often do a live kickoff call to commemorate the start of the boot camp, and hundreds of people attend. And I have them put into the chat what scares you most about starting the boot camp and what excites you most about starting the boot camp. I've been doing this for years. And here's what I've noticed. What excites people most is varied. Yeah, a lot of people are excited about losing weight, but actually people put in all kinds of other things. People, want to get healthier. People are excited about reclaiming their agency and their energy. People are excited about being more present for life. There's so many things people are excited about as they think about doing bright line eating and succeeding with the boot camp. When I ask what scares them most, there's one answer that dominates the chat over and over and over again. 80%, 90% of people say the same thing. Failing, failing, failure, failure, failing, 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 failing. That's what people are scared about. And that makes sense. The average person who starts bright line eating has tried over 16 other approaches to handling their weight issue. Many of them, bariatric surgery, weight loss drugs, Fit for Life, Body for Life, Weight Watchers, the USANA Lean program, the Raquel Welch Total Beauty program, Atkins, keto, paleo. I could go on. Cleanses, fasts, therapy, group therapy, hypnotherapy, on and on and on. And that's certainly my story. And when you've watched yourself try earnestly and not get the results you were looking for again and again and again, a terrible, terrible fear of failure crops up. And this is where, again, what's needed is to lower the bar so far down that it doesn't feel like a big outlay to just try it. The stakes don't feel as high. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm really, really going to be trying this. It feels like, no, I'm just going to be giving it a sampling, just a dip a toe in the water. I'm not diving into the deep end here. I'm just dipping my toe into the water. And that can convince those protective parts of us that are so afraid of failing again that it's okay to just do a little 14-day trial, because it's not really a full attempt. It's just a 14-day challenge, right? You're not really banking on it working. And the key is that to succeed with bright line eating, you don't need to believe that it will work. I'm going to say that again. To succeed with bright line eating, you do not need to believe it will work. What you believe at the outset is actually irrelevant to the outcome. Truly. As a matter of fact, most of the people I know who would say that bright line eating has completely transformed their life will readily say that when they clicked the registration button, they did not think it would work. They thought they would fail. They thought they wouldn't be able to do it. It seemed ridiculous to give up sugar and flour. They did not think they could do it. Doesn't matter. One day at a time, they started following this system and their brain changed. They became someone that they'd never experienced before. They'd never had a program that rewired their brain like this before. So this is what's exciting about the 14-day challenge, is that it helps people who wouldn't get started otherwise to get over the hump of just trying it. It's a very, very low bar to try something for 14 days. So there is a registration button down below if you want to give the 14-day challenge a try just for 14 days. You could do lots of things for 14 days. Doesn't mean that you're going to do it long term. Just try it. What do you got to lose? Not much, honestly. I'm very, very excited to bring the 14-day challenge back into the Brightline Eating fold. And you'll see it places. You'll see it in ads. You'll see it on our brightlineeating.com website. Feel free any old time to try the 14-day challenge. Try it again. You know, it's designed for someone who has never done Brightline Eating before to get started. So it will take someone from scratch to a point where they are doing the basics of Brightline Eating. And along the way, it'll educate them about the basics of Brightline Eating science. And then it will give them an option to keep going with the boot camp if they want to. No pressure, but yeah, very, very simple. If someone's been doing Brightline Eating for a long time, this was not designed to help them restart. We have other programs that do that. We have Reboot Resume, which is in the Bright Lifers membership, and we have the Bright Reset, which happens every now and then. Those are courses that are designed to help someone who knows the structure of Brightline Eating to get restarted strong. And in particular, they incorporate things like habits, habit stacks. They don't waste a lot of time with buy a digital food scale and, you know, here's your food plan. They don't waste time with that stuff. The 14-day challenge takes someone from the very, very beginning and gets them started. So welcome back, 14-day challenge. We're glad to have you back. And it feels sort of fitting that, you know, this week is all about the launch of the book Maintain, and the first 14-day challenge came out when the Brightline Eating book was launched, and now we're bringing back the 14-day challenge at the launch of the book Maintain. So it feels kind of fitting from first book to fifth book. The 14-day challenge making its debut twice in the world, all new, completely redone. Give it a try. The link is down below. I love you, and I'll see you next week.